Hello, it's AlinaGG, and I have a very special guest for you today. I have Simon Connell, Alchemist. Welcome aboard, Simon.
Yeah, hello, Alina.
Yeah,
Love the intro.
great. Well, it's true because I tried some of your essences this week and it's doing something. Yeah.
I'm so pleased to hear that was in the back of my mind. I was going to ask you, but I was hesitant because I didn't want to know. I know I'm very sensitive to it. I know that people that have used them prior have also always commented that they have noticed. And for me, that's one of the biggest things. I think it's always a case when you take essences and things like that. I know in the back of my mind you're expecting an immediate sort of influence or something at least, but to at least know that something has taken place is probably one of the most profound things that can happen because it shows that the things that I've said about these things are real.
Definitely. And when we had a little chat the other day, we were speaking into what they come from. Like the paperbark tree was one, and there was like pine forest and pine cone, and how they had their different energies and frequencies. Can we talk a bit more about a few of those and what they're for?
Oh yeah, sure. It was some while before I actually realised I'd completed. There are 9 in the collection. And then there are the elements themselves: fire, water, air, and earth. So that's 13 in all. But from the actual plants, there's only 13. Sorry, 9. And it took me a fair while to realise, except for pine cone, every one of them is actually trees or bushes of some kind. And it was sort of like one day it dawned. Our grass tree has been on my mind. I don't have I was looking for the photograph I had of a grass tree, but unfortunately I don't have it. Now the brilliance of these things is they tell you what they do from their structure. And so if I look at a grass tree, so I recall going to collect rather, an essence from a grass tree on one occasion, and they will call to you as well. So I've got the exact place in mind. And I go, last time I was in that spot, I know exactly where these plants are. So I pulled up to this place and I got out and I walked straight over to the spot and there wasn't a grass tree to be found. I'm like, oh no, I'm done. And so I started wandering off and I go, I know they're in the area. I've got to find some. So I wandered off down the road and I've gone about 20, 30 metres. And it was almost like my head turned straight, just bang to the right. And I'm staring straight at 2 grass trees straight into the middle of the bush. All right, so I go in there and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what do they do? And then I think, look at the structure. So if you have a look at them, their grass comes out in this big cascade. And they got this single pillar going up and their seed pod and everything that comes down. So I look straight at that and I'm going, okay, what's it do? And it's telling me crown chakra. This is where it is. It fonts all the way out. And so it works on that crown chakra, but the effect of it is not just on the crown chakra alone. It gives you a good shunt and it brings it all the way down the spinal column. And what it does is it speeds up or spins each of the chakra below, so brow, throat, heart, so on down to the base. It will spin them faster. And so what will happen is, as a result, anything rotating fast, everything that's on the side will fly off. And then it'll go out into the aura and burn, and then seal at the feet. And that burnt, that ash, that alchemical ash that comes from it, the salve or the balm of it, will reabsorb back into the energetic field and then move through you. And so it's a clearing and a cleansing element, whilst at the same time activating and dealing with the crown chakra, but it's one that you have to be careful with because you don't want to overactivate the crown chakra. Not good things happen if you do that. It becomes very, very difficult and very uncomfortable for you. The thing that I was not ready for was one afternoon, I went to go and visit one of the grass trees once again, and then it just dawned on me straight away. And the whole of the time I'm getting this song in my head. You ain't seen nothing yet, Backman Turner Overdrive. You ain't seen nothing yet. Boom, boom. And I'm singing this all the way as I get there. When I get there, I realise, well, there it is. The plant is telling you. It's got this big aerial thing straight up. It says, I am one. And that is its thing. It is about the crown chakra, but it is about awakening us to the I am body, the light body, the Merkaba. And so, but as it says, you have a look, you'll rarely find one of these singularly. There's usually a lot of them around, and you look at them, they're all the same. They're all connected. So it's telling us we're all connected, and it awakens that understanding of the I am is the all connected. And if I were to go further to what it is revealed to me is, there's an old thing. So it's the I am. There's a couple of different things, different symbols that we could use to represent that area on the crown. And one of them would be the Hebrew letter Shin, 300. It is known as the fiery breath, right? Or the breath of God. And if you have a look at the moment, there is breath work going on all over the place, and it's working really, really well. Breath work, this is this breath. And if we look at each one of these plants and we see it in a group and we see it, that is I am, and they're all sitting there, so it's all I am going in there, and then we realise that's us. The whole of humanity is the breath of God, creation. We are all one in that moment, and that's one of the things. The other is another one. This is an absolute knee trembler. I had trouble standing for about 2 days when I first realised this, and this is the beauty of these as well. They bring the feeling to you. I don't know, has that been your experience? It has been a feeling thing, not just recognition?
I feel like I've been elevated,
Yeah.
but whatever
I
you
should.
gave me, remember, is connecting with archangels as well. So
Yes. Yeah, that one was aspire or aspiration, that blend. All right, so the other one, the other aspect, and this is more of a recent, and I hadn't written this down at the time. So if you see this big cascade, sorry, I've got to move the phone to keep it in place. So you'll see this grass coming out like this. Besides the element of the alchemical meditation that actually accompanies this, is the other fabulous thing. See, we're always talking about time, past, present, future, and everything else. But if we look at things, everything has a center and everything radiates from that center. Let us say that time is that part of that reality. And what it shows is, boom, there's a moment. Boom, there's another moment. Boom, there's another moment. Just like each of us are individual, and yet we're all connected. Each of these moments are individual and they are independent, but they are connected to the other. But there is no past, present, future. And what comes with that is, at that moment, is grace, because it indicates and it shows that everything is perfect in that moment. And so what it will do is releases the element of, geez, did I say the right thing? What could I have done? Should I have done any of these things? And it just says that moment was perfect. Boom. Don't worry about it. Let the guilt go. Boom. Don't worry about it. It's all okay. Boom. Boom. And it just keeps on going. When I had this experience, and like I say, it was about 2 days, I had trouble standing up. I'm walking around, breath's going off and all that. And of course, those moments will peter out. My vibration isn't high enough to sustain that understanding the whole of the time throughout my consciousness. Sort of like again. And that is the other part. It is in each and other and all, when they expose this aspect within ourselves, it encourages to seek and search for more, to experience that again. And the other beautiful thing about it is it's within us that we experience it. Okay, I've used an essence, an external thing, but all it's done is a vibration or a frequency that matches a frequency that exists within me. So it is not disempowering, but empowering. It allows me to know that I and nature are one, and these frequencies and these potentials that take place within that field take place within my field because I'm part of that wholeness. And that's the thing about grass tree. And I haven't come across essences before that I would regulate and say, no, I won't take that one too frequently. This is the only one I've ever even heard of, or anything as such, that I wouldn't overuse. Once a week, twice a week, perhaps, but I wouldn't use it more than that. I'm not saying, it's going to be dire consequences or anything as such, but as saying it's a far more balanced way to go about it. Wattle, oh, what a cracker! I was contemplating that one again today as well. Unfortunately, again, I use golden wattle. There are a variety of others. Wattle, and one of the great things about wattle is there's not a time in the year that wattle isn't in flower somewhere throughout Australia. They truly are messengers of the sun. One of the elements, it will help re-establish circadian rhythms and cycles. For people particularly that are working inside and under the influence of artificial light, you need good light, proper light, daylight to actually reset, because the nature of the frequencies in the light aren't the same as what they are directly from the sun. By the way, the light that comes from the sun is not white light. It is brilliance. That is its actual name. So white is a part of it, but brilliance is the actual term that's used for light from the sun. And if anyone else is like me, I reckon that thing's got so much brighter over the last 2 months, I can barely look at it now. Just with it straight up. But anyway, wattle, it opens up sun centers within all the cells and within us. And one of its main ones is, again, it is about timing, not time. So it brings us back to our spontaneity and play. And play is an extremely important means of learning. And if we look at kids up until the age of 7, before the advent of phones and computers, nowadays, if you haven't got a phone or something, oh, geez, what am I going to do? And then the other element is that you might get on to, all right, I'm going to play a game. I'm going to use one of the computer games. And we use the term so much where we say, okay, here's a game we're playing, therefore kids are playing. Have a look at Iceland, all the Scandinavian countries. They rate the highest in numeracy, literacy, and their school outcomes. And what do? They largely, one of the largest aspects of their school programs is they play as much as they can up until about the age of 7. And then they start, okay, you've now got foundation. All right, so your kids are playing and they're learning in these, and it's not just kids, but I picked this one because it really struck me today. They're playing computer games. Now, a game already has a set of rules. And so what they're actually doing, whilst they're engaging, I don't call that play. They're engaging in this, they're interacting and they're learning the set of rules. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, I'm just saying it's not play.
It's just cut out a little bit there.
Well, now I get, and they get better at it and everything else. Now, let's go back to the element of play, because it is so important. What do you do in play? 1, you engage your imagination. 2, you make the rules. You create the game. So it puts you in the box seat as the creator of everything that's going on. And what's the worst thing you can do when kids are playing? What's the worst thing you can do? It's not break the rules. It's not cheat. It's none of those things. It's break the fantasy. and because then you the rat bag, go away. Then you'll get thrown out. If you break the rules or something, I think, oh, you cut that, you got to go sit over in the corner for a little while or do whatever, and then you can come back into the game, or you get a warning or whatever else. But if you break the fantasy, if you are the party pooper, I know you got to go. That's it. End of game for you. End of play, rather. So the element of play, and so there it is. It brings back this understanding that we have this element of we are the creator, we are the ones, and it slowly awakens this from the inside, and it brings it further forward. So it works on the element of the sun. It spikes the intellect, the creative intellect, not memory, and but it does work on memory. It'll work on mathematics. If you learn a mathematics, take that one. If you want to learn maths and improve on it, take it, because it helps the creative intelligence or the creative intellect receive the conceptual message from the right brain, so it'll understand the image a whole lot better. It looks after the, again, it affects the circadian rhythms, which are very much set off by those initial elements of light in the morning. And so, like, sunny day, you wake up, I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty much the same as me. Open my eyes as soon as I got light, that's it. Even if I go, geez, I'm an hour earlier awake than what I really need to get out of bed, there's no going back to sleep. It's too late. The light's already hit the particular area in the SCN, this area way in the back of the brain, and that's it. The system's now already in drive, and away it goes. And it also has another very interesting aspect. So that thing actually sets up a process which then starts organising all the cells to be working. But not every single cell. Like, we wake up and we think, I'm moving, I'm on the go. And so my whole body is, or sometimes we think, oh, I'm not awake until about an hour later. And then, yep, the whole body's working. But what it actually is, the reality is, I don't know the percentages, but not every cell is working at the same time. They are actually on shift. So certain cells will be firing and they'll be active and they'll be doing their work, whilst others are resting. And they can be in the skin cells. And I think we spoke about this, used an infrared camera to show the activity of skin cells just on this one patch. It was on a person's arm. And they put it into the dark, so you couldn't see anything. It would only pick up the infrared images, and you could see it looked like a night sky. So there were cells working and others were resting. And then eventually the working cells will go into their rest phase. And whilst they're doing that, so they're going into their rest phase, and whilst they're doing that, the other ones are coming into their work phase. So it's all this curve up and down. So Wattle assists within that aspect of resetting so that we come back to our natural processes. Now, because the other element of the circadian rhythms is some people will work really well on written work and intellectual processes and everything. I know one person, nighttime, from about 9 o'clock to midnight, that's their peak for that. Another person might be really well adjusted to that morning, 9 o'clock till 9 a.m. to midday. Physical activity. Some people are more geared. I was more geared to physical activity in the afternoons. Could do it mornings, but was much more comfortable doing it in the afternoon. So we start to know our own processes a whole lot better. And we also let go. It helps us, because kids are brilliant again. It's a very childlike thing in a number of ways, but it has a very strong, potent underlying thing. Kids show us all the time, you're looking happy. Why? And they go, because. As adults, we think there's got to be a reason for it, or there's got to be something that no, because. Why did you do that? Because. So there's that element of spontaneity. So what it does do is it helps us put away the elements of, why should I do this? All right, we might procrastinate over things because we're going, well, there's no good reason for it, or this or that, or I can't justify doing this and these sorts of things. And you go, well, it doesn't matter, because. And one of the elements where it would have been very good for me, and I recall years ago, I'm 52, I'm exercising. One morning I'm working on some resistance on weights, and I'm actually on this exercise device machine, and I've gone to myself, what am I doing? I'm 52, I shouldn't be doing this. And then I had to catch myself and I go, why the bloody hell not? So I'd already sitting there, had a condition that was set within me that age determines certain activities as well. And so I'm sitting there going, and then I've just gone, no, I don't. I'll just keep doing it. But I noticed that wasn't just a straight out, just a conscious decision. I actually had to really struggle to continue to exercise at that time. And that resistance in certain to a certain level lasted for a couple of days. So I'd get on to go and exercise again, and it'd be going, what are you doing this for? I go, don't worry about it, keep going. Why are you doing this? Because it's enjoyment. And so that's one of the elements of Wattle is it brings forward this element of joy, doing things, and it is joyful. So the simple stuff that we enjoy doing, we can experience this. But as we progress through any aspect of life, and especially as we become, I'm loath to use the term older and older, but as we learn more and more, we start to take on this idea that we have to justify our actions for it, or we do this because, and we're looking for an intellectual reasoning or something like this, or something that makes that activity purposeful. And a lot of the times we don't know the purpose behind things whilst we're doing them. But all we need to know is, yeah, I'm feeling a bit of a buzz about it, and therefore I will do it. And that's one of the things that paperbark, these, all of these have a depth to them that I was never prepared for when I always knew they were going to take up a lot of my, have a massive influence within me, but I was not prepared for the revelations that they're shown. Wattle in itself shows us that the cyclic day system that we use, sunrise, sunset, midnight, midday, is exactly the same cycle as the solar year that the planet uses when it travels on its orbit around the sun in 1 year. Wattle releases this knowing it matches up perfectly that in that 1 year passage, we do exactly that same thing every single day. So if we were to look at summer, winter solstice, so it'd be southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, winter solstice in one, summer in the other, and then down the far end, again, summer, winter solstice, and then we got the spring equinox and the autumn equinox. They are exactly the same as sunrise, sunset, midday, midnight. Those points intersect. So we are going through exactly the same cycle, but each one of these has a different rhythm as well. I don't know if I've explained that particularly well, but it's more, that was more of a recent understanding. It's like I'm sitting there, jaw hit the ground yesterday when I realised that. It's like, holy moly, the passage that we do every single year, we do in a day at the same time. It is incredible. So it is a verification of the microcosm in the macrocosm, is what it basically said to me, microcosm, macrocosm. Here it is. You've got an experiential circumstance that reveals that truth to us. So it's no longer just a theoretical element of your spiritual nature and everything that we're told. It takes it from the intellect and delivers it to the heart. And so therefore becomes a knowing because it's a part of our experience.
Beautiful. So what about paperbark then? What are
Okay, paperbark. Again, have a look at it. The bark of this tree, it's paper. It tells us, what does it do? We send messages, it's records, It's all of those things. It has a link to the the Seraphim Metatron, who's also called an archangel. He is the scribe, the keeper of the records, sits just up by the sun, also related to Sanat Kumara, or an influence with Sanat Kumara. Now, this one works very much. It's about contracts, sacred contracts, and all those things. So it's the work that one does that they've come into this life for. It doesn't direct you onto that path. It awakens those potentials within you. There's a difference between those. But it awakens those potentials within you, which can take you onto that path. Soul contracts, soul mates, twin flames, they are also held within this. And again, I'd have to go to one of the old sayings, let the sins of the father be passed to the son for 7 generations. So if you were to draw or go back and have a look at your family tree, you would see, okay, we've got the great-great-grandparents or great-great-great-great-grandparents, and the further back we go, the wider this is, and they all line up, and it looks like a tree, the roots of a tree. Now, there is no time. Everything is happening. So the genes that are carried through here are operating still. They're operating now. And so it is said that certain things will be passed on from generations of the past. But here's the other. Everything is memory. My nose could be my great-great-great-grandfather's. My ears are my great-great-great-uncles. My fingers and hands have been disposed to me from my 3 times removed uncle. Their hands, the genetic information. So here it is. Here it is all running through. Now, there would be also circumstances where infamy, I've done energetic work with people that are going to go, oh, look, it's got to be, you've got to clear the infamy of the genetic line to allow you to come through. So it's like,
Oh, it's just cut out there, Simon.
gates. Yeah, it's the vibration. So if we can imagine the individual that we are, we're sitting there and we're pulsing.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the heart beating, we're pulsing. So what we're doing is we are sending that frequency, our frequency, all the way along those lines of connection. And so for people that are on their path of awakening to themselves, their spiritual understanding, anybody that does that is doing their whole family a service, because they are sending those lights back, that the forgiveness, the let go, it does not matter. It's okay. I'm here. I'm fine. I am one. You are one. Now, I wish I had a diagram. I'd try and write it down. Now, if we take that old linear, okay, like the roots of a tree, and we now do this, we write it in circular form. Right, okay, my family, there's us. We're in the middle of the circle, mum, dad, and me. And next circle, brothers and sisters. Next circle, aunts, uncles, cousins. Next circle, grandparents, so on and so on. We just keep doing it, radiating out just like this pulse. Now, I am. I know I am. So I'll put I am written for where I am. Now, my parents are also I am. My brother and sister are also I am. My aunts, uncles, cousins, boom, 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 boom. I am, I am, I am. It is an indicator, again, of the connectedness of all things. Now, there's nothing that is not I am. So it awakens it. This is great for clairvoyance, for people that are into there. It helps awaken that by strengthening that connection, that energetic connection, to the understanding that, yes, you're not having to create anything to understand. All you're going to do is, like the paperbark says, read. You're going to read what's going on. So it has this connection of our genetic. And what it also tells us is the other little one, is the word made flesh. So it tells us I am is in the genetics. So our genes are all that. Now, if the word is made flesh, it means when we use affirmations, there's been so much about affirmations and saying, and so conscious mind gets in the way, or the critical mind. Okay, I go and make a positive affirmation. I am wealthy. Now, another part of it sits and go, what are you talking about, you dickhead? You ain't got that. So automatically that's negated. However, this indicates that everything that I desire, I am. And I already have in blueprint energetic form. And all I need to do is go ahead and realize this I am, which would be I am healthy, I am creative, I am all that I need. And so slowly, and again, because you imagine the layers and different, each person is different, and we put these layers around us. And it also says there are no blockages. There are conditions that we have subjected ourselves to prevent this truth from us for whatever reason. It's probably caused us pain at some time or another in somehow, some way. And so we've put this protective barrier around us, but it's not a blockage. It was actually there to, we believe it was there to serve us. And every single thing is in service. So it is one that helps people accept their element of leadership. Leadership is service. Great leadership finds the potential of the people, the assets, the circumstances, the situations that they have around them, and they get the best out of it. So there's service. The angels, the masters and everything else, they are in service to us. And they are looking and they say, wow, look at the potential of this individual. All right, let's give them everything that they can use to realise this. There's leadership. And so it sort of turns around. So it starts to bring around a different understanding about, you know, like, because truly the world has too many Indians and not enough chiefs. Because we're all the CEO. And we think there's going to, you know, there's only going to be a few CEOs and the rest of us have got to be followers. And the reality is we can all be CEOs and we can all cooperate. And that's one of the things that it does. That's not its sole thing. That's more pine cone as far as the strength of that, but it helps realise this. And so by doing so, the I am, we're all talking about, okay, we're going from the Earth, the planet, it's going from third dimension to fifth dimension. We're going to jump fourth dimension entirely. Who would have thought of ever doing that? That is a concept beyond belief.
What does it mean? Can you just break it down, like, for me? What does that mean?
All right, so we're living in this current understanding that we have about how life goes. There's follow the leadership, the bureaucracies and everything that's set up. We have a number of elements. People are fighting for power. They're looking for wealth and all these sorts of things, but there's a limited amount available for people in general. That's the 3D understanding, third dimensional, and it is that third dimensional space. Now, the other dimensions will involve, so up a fifth dimension, that is an element that they'll talk about and call it Christ consciousness. And this understanding is telepathy is accepted as an everyday thing. Clairvoyance, clairaudience, these things, they're natural. It's going on every day. It's part of life. It's not, wow, that is just an unnatural or, you know, not so often used. We live more from the element of the heart, as in, I don't need to justify why I'm doing stuff. I love doing it. And we live more of an element of, we let go of this element of sacrifice as being heroic and turning down opportunity, because that's what we've been told, you know, don't be greedy. Don't put yourself first, because there's a guilt element led to it. This one is saying, no, I can live directly for myself from my heart. Love will be my guide, my element, the temple, my truth. not I have to have money to survive. So basically the lower three chakras, the elements of survival are the strongest things. So our emotions will interfere often with our actions. I can't do that because I'm not enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. And rather we'll look into the upper side and we'll go, well, I am, so I shall. That word shall also has a great resonance with paperbark. It also resonates with the Archangel Ratziel, and it is the same as the word will. Shall, Ratziel are the same frequency, they're the same vibration. So when we say I shall or I will, Ratziel is engaged within our actions. All right, so now coming to that, and we come to, well, I know I'm immortal. Paperbark speaks of the universal element of, because I am. Now we take away on that original diagram, take away grandparents, parents, so on and so on, and let's now call them spheres of dimension. I am in each one of those. I live in multi-dimensions because I have higher self, higher self, higher self, higher self, higher self, so on and so on. So we talk about the 7 chakras, but we know, like, we've got at least two beneath us, the Earth Star down at the feet. We've got one between the knees. We got above the chakra, there's 14 at least chakras that people are opening into now, just in this period of transition. We'll go to at least 21 because that's the magic number, and 7s are the system that we work by. So there's all of that. And so we can't understand now where are our origins. So it takes us to, allows us to the realization. A lot of people that are starseeds, they're going, oh, I'm from the Arcturian, I'm from Sirius, I'm from here, I'm here, I'm here. They go, yeah, bloody hell yeah. And that is an everyday, not, geez, you're a bit weird. That'll be every day, everywhere. People just go, yeah, I know. And it's not unusual. And the pyramids will light up again. You got to wonder how come a structure like that is still standing today. It's, oh, geez, luck. We all know luck is something that gamblers rely upon. These things are, so it's still sitting here. All these structures and everything, they're still here. Why? Because they're here to remind us of what we have done and what we will do. And the continuation of archaeologists and everything that sit there and try and work out how they build them with copper bloody saws and stuff. You got to be joking. Excuse me. All right, so it's the element of paperbark. Now, the other part about it is it's part of, it's a very feminine one. As you can tell, it is, the side of it is warmth. Now, when I go and collect the essences, I like to take something with me as an exchange. All right, so I've gone and I've laid the bottle and everything. The tree is going to give me this. I will give it something in return. I might have left a crystal. I might leave, I've left food and that, fruit, so forth, so I make an exchange. And I recall the last time I went and got paperbark, I was in, I don't know, I was sort of like, oh, I've got to get down there and pick it up. I just can't wait, I've got to go. So I took off. And when I got there, I realised, oh, I hadn't put the little crystal in that I was wanting to make the exchange. And I felt, for some reason, and unusually, because there were plenty of times prior when I'd collected essences that I hadn't done this. And on this occasion, I felt really bad. I thought, oh, maybe I felt like I was thieving it. I'm not sure, but I only just sort of thought about that. And but I felt really bad about not having some kind of exchange for it. So prior to taking the essence away from it, I've come without a gift. I don't feel comfortable taking the essence. What can I offer as an exchange? And I just got this overwhelming feeling hug me. So I just walked up to the tree and the tree embraced me.
Oh my gosh.
That is the other thing with, and it doesn't matter what the essence there. I stood and I'm here, wrap my arms around it. Very fortunately, I was alone in the bush on my own because I burst into tears. And but that was the other element too, is that it doesn't matter what essences you're taking. These things, see, they come from, you imagine, these trees and any of the plants and everything else, they have their genetic history just as we do. Go into a tree and cut it through and you'll see all those growth rings. There's a record in the genetic makeup of that tree of everything that's taken place within that region for the life of that tree, and back through the genetic line of all the seeds that it has originated from. And some of these plants go back 20 million years. Imagine. Now, every one of these elements, we look at the harmony and the beauty of nature, and you're sitting there going, that cannot happen by chance. Beauty like that doesn't just happen. It is orchestrated. And there's got to be something that is moving. It's taking a direction, but it's pulling the strings. The angelic realms work through there. And what do they work through? The devic realm. And so when one takes an essence, because the plant or crystals or whatever else, they've offered up a gift of their frequency, but not only their frequency, their signature. That is massive. And what it is an invitation. Come in. Know us. So what are the divas? They are souls that wanted to experience life on Earth in physical form, but they didn't want to do it in the human condition. They are schools of knowledge. And what I'm finding from these essences is that they blow my mind. They seriously blow my mind. I'm going, holy moly, I went a little bit weak at the knees yesterday when I came across another aspect of one of the essences. I'm going, my goodness. And I keep getting the song, you ain't seen nothing yet. And it just keeps telling me there are so many layers. And like nature is basically saying what I've learned through these, but nature is saying, come, sit at my feet. Just for a while. Be at peace. Feel whole. Feel yourself. Know that everything I am, you are. And if we are still and quiet, you'll get to know me. That's nature. Now, the frequency of nature, we've got 4 main brain frequencies: beta, alpha, theta, delta. They'll probably find more. And I recently saw there's another one higher up above, and that's about the rate. So delta is deep. That's like when you're in delta, it's happening all the time, but when it predominates, that's when we're in deep, deep, deep sleep. Theta, another element of sleep, usually probably in the REM stage, rapid eye movement, dream state and everything else. Alpha can be in sleep, but easily woken when you're in beta, that's conscious. And that's up to around about 16 hertz, I think it is. And on going up. So gamma is sitting there, I've read recently, but if you consider Kundalini runs at 55 at its height. So when Kundalini fully explodes up your spinal column and into your brain, it awakens everything. It's running at 55. 21 is a nervous breakdown, so they say. But Kundalini has been rising. It's now majority. Years ago, we used to be doing work energetically where we'd release the codes and everything in people's auric fields. And this would allow Kundalini to start making their way into the heart. The masters and everything, that's what their practices were initially as they progressed through their lifestyle, the passage of the journey of the soul throughout as they perfected their form was basically opening Kundalini. So we're already a large proportion of the population, their Kundalini rises more to the heart. So we are more compassionate, we're more considerate, we're more concerning. Yes, we still do all these other things, but we are making this the focus of our life rather than the elements of control, authority, trying to dominate and these sorts of things. We're looking more at cooperating, collaborating. Okay, so what does it matter if I don't get things the way I want? I'll learn. So essentially we're growing up. So we're coming out of our infancy and we're moving into a greater understanding of our more mature self as a race, so that we will then move forward into the stars and assist other civilizations as they are assisting us. Bearing in mind, so many of us are from these other star systems anyway. And that's what these essences have essentially been able to do, to awaken, to really bring into an understanding. And it just makes sense. So the Earth has sent out a plea or a request. I wish to go to the next level. So the hierarchy of all levels said, shit, yeah, we'll do it. Who are we going to get to do it? We need all these. So they brought in all these souls 26,000 years ago and said, yeah, do it. And then others have continued coming in. Well, why? Well, who better than beings from the seventh dimension, the sixth dimension, and the fifth dimension are able to find their way back and guide the place that they are going to go. And in the meanwhile, the planet said, I will give you every single thing you need to sustain you. What a dialogue, what a communication, what a conversation. And sitting there going, so we will serve you, you will serve us. There you go, symbiotic. And in your service to me, we will realise things even more as we go. So these essences, they're a part of that. They're inspired by the angelic realms to awaken parts of us that, like previously, other essences and everything else, though, what they would do is, okay, here's your clairvoyance, here's this and that. The bark flower remedies were very strongly with psychological and emotional circumstances. The Californian range, they showed the depth of these things where they were talking about, okay, in Atlantis they were used this way, in Lemuria they were used this way, in Egypt they were used here, or the plant was directed in this way. You can use them on animals like this, you can use them on plants in this fashion, you can use them for people for this purpose. And now with these ones, it's going, and like this is one extraordinary period of the time, these last 2 years in particular, but it's been ramping up, ramping up, ramping up, ramping up. And these things are just going to get, like nature itself, it's getting more and more potent all the time. Like I'm sitting here looking out through the door, and about 800 metres away, there's all this bush and these hills through Valdora. And I wake up to this every morning. And you're just sitting there going, wow, look at it. And it takes your breath away every day. And I'm looking at it right now, and I'm seeing from filtered light, and it's still as bright as. And so, look, you can see the energy coming off things, not let alone feel it. And so when we walk into that place, the intensity of energy, it does a number of things. And one is we have a theta rhythm, which is very much connected to our heart. When we walk into nature plants work on the theta rhythm more predominantly than anything else. We entrain, it makes that element stronger. Theta, we would normally experience that. One of the best places, go to the dentist. The anticipation of great pain or great joy or great pleasure inspires the element of theta. The other time that we are very predominantly in theta is driving a car. So we are honed with our attention down the road, but we are very much aware of everything that goes on around us, but in a very casual sort of manner. It's an easy, relaxed. A lot of people actually enjoy the drive home at the end of the day. Remington company, I was sitting there, and they had people who worked in their offices. They came up with the ideas for all these particular devices and everything, shavers and whatever else that they were making, and they diversified beyond that. And so they'd have these ideas, people. And then one day they sort of thought, I wonder where the people are getting all these great ideas from. Where is it that they're coming up? So they checked it out, and it was very few of them were whilst they were sitting at their desk in the office or the building or whatever else. They found it was in the coffee room when they were taking a break and they were more relaxed and they were more alpha brain frequencies. But they found very much driving home at the end of the day or in the shower in the morning prior to coming in, these ideas would spring into mind. So we go into nature and we sit in there and she's predominating on the theta rhythm. We predominate in the theta rhythm. Big healing. And there's an entrainment. And so you go into the place and there's activity happening all over, but it's at peace. There's no conflict. There's no fear. Peace, the absence of fear. And sitting in there and everything's organised and everything is operating exactly as it should be. And it resets our body and it resets our magnetic field to the magnetic structure and flux lines of the planet. And that's another aspect of grass trees, that these strands of grass are telling us, and that big long spike going up to the top with the flowers at the top, the Akashic records. I thought I'd leave that one a little later. And the Akasha coming down through us. It's essentially, it tells us, nature and us are exactly the same thing. We're just different expressions of exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But
Simon, it would be great, for more people to try these essences. And how can they find you and purchase them?
at the moment, probably through either Facebook or, if you just contact me through Facebook. I don't have a website for them. I'm sort of humming and hawing which way to go, website or whether just do it straight off from Facebook. I'm getting a page organised so that can happen, but Facebook would be probably the best through there and just message.
Yeah, great.
And sorry, I think I talked too much then, didn't I?
No, it's oh my gosh, thank you. It was really fascinating, and your brain is amazing. So thanks for sharing all your wisdom and your learnings and your channelings and your alchemy. It's really like opening my mind. So thanks for showing up and having a good yarn.
Oh, more than welcome. Geez, thanks so much for having me on. Obviously, I've prattled on. I chewed the year off on Sunday as well. So I've been dying to actually have some kind of say about them, obviously.
Well, that's okay. I wish I was recording when we were chatting on Sunday as well, but that's all right. Well, there's a lot here. I feel like, there's really good messages woven in with what you're saying. And that's great. Yeah. Thank you for being you.
Oh, Alina, thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you again.